Hello and welcome back to the GrianaigCreations podcast channel. My name is Kirsty, my pronouns are they, them, and I am coming to you from sunny Paisley in Scotland. There is some light drizzle going on at the moment. I spotted that just as I was starting to record, but the sun is still out at the moment. We'll see how long that lasts for. It is going down. But yeah, it is sunny today. But yes, Happy New Year. It is the 1st of January. This is not a typical podcast episode. This is a video showing all the projects I am taking into 2024 that I did not get completed in 2023. So I've counted them all up. I am carrying 18 projects into the new year, none of which, I'm not counting any cross stitch, I'm not counting any spinning projects. These are all knit and crochet projects. There's maybe something I'm forgetting, but to be honest, I looked upstairs, I've searched this room. I'm not going to spend much more time because I want to get a normal podcast episode recorded today as well. So, not really going to go into too much detail on some of them. Some of them I'll go into more detail because some are just like vanilla socks, that kind of thing. So let's get started and we'll see how long this takes, hopefully not too long. But the first project I'm taking into 2024 is this sock tube that is made, there goes the project. This yarn here is yarn from Fiberpunk. This is Goth Pride, and then at one end I do have just some unknown sock yarn, like a commercial sock yarn for the 2x2 ribbing. The reason this really hasn't had any progress done on it was because, for one, it was tucked away, I didn't see it. And for two, I still haven't decided if I'm going to stick a toe on this side or ribbing on this side, because either way it means I'm either going to have different socks, which I'm not opposed to, or I'm going to have matching socks, which I'm also not opposed to. So I need to decide whether I want different socks, like reverse socks, or matching socks. I don't think that still doesn't do it, does it? No, that's still reversing. So sock tube is project 1. There's no order to these whatsoever. Oh, that's not a project that was finished. So 17 projects. This project has been ongoing for a while. I need to decide what I'm going to do about it. But this is the yarn eater blanket. This is a crochet blanket. This was meant to be for my mum, but to be honest, I actually really don't enjoy this project very much, but I feel like it's so far gone that I should probably just keep eating away at it and try and make it at least a lap blanket or something, or just make my mum a completely different blanket and make this enough for a baby size and donate it to the natal unit up at the hospital. So that is that project. The yarn is just something my mum picked up. I think it's one of the Turkish yarns that a lot of shops kind of mass purchase and then sell as like big packs. So that's another one. The next one is another kind of like half finished sock. This is a sock that was meant to be for myself, but this black yarn bleeds like crazy and I just don't really want that on my foot. I don't want black feet. It's also a yarn, I know I could set the yarn, but it is also a yarn that I purchased when I wasn't great, like in a great place mentally, and therefore it does have a lot of negative emotions attached to this yarn. So honestly, I think I might just finish it at this sock and call it quits. If anyone wants the rest of the yarn, let me know, but I'm telling you now that it bleeds like crazy. This is a Red Heart sock yarn that I got in a shop that unfortunately it's not standing anymore. The owners moved. But yeah, I don't know. I genuinely don't know how I feel about this sock. The next project really shouldn't take me too much longer to finish, so I've got really no excuse whatsoever. But this was a hat, or is going to be a hat. And if I do plan on getting the haircut I plan, I'm going to need hats soon to see me through to the warmer weather, because I'm going to have way less hair. So yeah, just I was going to say a random hat, but it's not. This is the Ross hat pattern by Ross of Smells Like Yarn, the podcast. And this is in the Emu Funfair Helter Skelter DK. I'm not loving this colour, but we'll see if I can get a second one out of it. Then maybe I'll like the colours on that one better, but we'll see. Okay, I dropped a yarn, dropped a bag. So I'm going to be honest with this project. I don't remember what my thoughts were on this one. I have a random square. I don't know how far back, if at all, this is in my podcast episodes, but there's two different yarns here, and I don't know if I was just trying to use up some yarn to make like a lap blanket or something. Like, I legit have no memory of what my thought process was here, but I've tried to put the solid red in every time this yarn changes colour. Because it's literally 2 balls of yarn. So it's this one that changes colour. But yeah, I have no recollection whatsoever of what I was attempting to do with this. So maybe I will just make it big enough for like a lap blanket or something, or again, big enough for a baby, and donate it to the NATO unit. Because honestly, I don't remember what I was trying to do. Next one is a fairly new cast on. I decided to use up quite a bunch of chunky yarn that I had purchased for stuff to make for the wedding, and decided to do a 10 stitch blanket. I still have probably about somewhere in the region between like 14 and 16 balls of yarn in different colours. So I'm just gonna work away on this. It's quite a pleasant project to have, but the only thing is with this yarn, and I don't know if you can see it really well, but it's like really fuzzy and halo-y because it's like a 2-ply, just really loose 2-ply yarn, and because of that it is a very fuzzy yarn and very easy to snag as well. So I don't know, we'll see how this one grows basically. But I started that one in December, so that's a really new cast on. I had no right to cast it on, but I did it anyway. The next one is my 2-colour brioche shawl that I do actually really love this project, but it is one of those projects where I do need silence. Like, I couldn't take this to craft night or anything because I would just confuse myself far too much. But it just looks so good. So this is the wrong side and this is the right side. But I really love this project, and I think I've got one more repeat and then it starts to decrease, so it should get quicker from here on in. Well, once the last repeat is done. Thankfully on like my iPad I can mark where I am, so I know where I should be going back into when I look at the pattern, because otherwise it's just going to be far too confusing and I'd probably start doing like the wrong row or something. Right, let's not get this caught in the zip. There we go. So that was the Rowy Show. That's how I say it. I could be saying it wrong. Next up is the carved pullover. I was working on this a couple of nights ago, just putting some rows in on the body, because we're now past all the lace work and we're now just onto the body of the sweater, and then go back and pick up for the sleeves. For those that might be new to the podcast, I altered this pattern ever so slightly. I done some short row shaping to bring the back of the sweater up just a little bit, because a lot of, well, not a lot of people, but some people say that the way it is written, it sits too high on the neck and therefore can seem quite constricting. So I have followed somebody's instructions on a Ravelry project where they have put in step by steps how they put in short row shaping. So I'm not taking the credit for that one. That was somebody already on Ravelry, and thanks to them it took a lot of the headache out of it for me, because I couldn't work it out. I'm just putting all these on Scott's chair because he's up having a nap just now because he's not feeling the greatest. So if he comes down whilst I'm still recording, he's going to have to move everything off the chair. Next one up is the Seasons cardigan. This is by Ozetta. And I have split for the sleeves and I'm just working away on the body. I tried to work on this during Advent, but because it's not the most mindless project, I was picking it up while Scott and I were working through God of War Ragnarok. He plays, I watch. And because of the half fisherman's rib, it wasn't something I could do whilst not looking at it. Therefore, it got put away. I think I've only got like 4 rows. Yeah, probably about 4 rows on it before I was just like, yeah, I want to be able to watch the game instead of watching like every other minute or so. So yeah, hopefully this will get done this year because it is super squishy and I just want to be wrapped up in it. Okay, another small bag. This is a sock that I am making for my best friend. I just need her to actually try this on, make sure it's the right fit before I give it to her, before I start the second one as well, because if she doesn't like the length of it, then I can, well, I don't know, it was, I done cuff down, so if she doesn't like the length, then whoops. Hopefully she does like the length. But we'll find out very soon. She's coming around in a couple of days time, so we'll see how that goes. But this was done in, I don't have the tag anymore, which is really unfortunate, but it's one of those yarns, it's kind of like Regia Perfect. This is Grundle Hot Socks, but it's just like Regia Perfect where you have the green yarn that you're not meant to actually use, and then once you get to the end of the green yarn you cast on. And then once you get to the next bit of solid yarn, that's when you start the heel, and then when it goes back to the colour, you work the foot, and then once it gets back to the solid colour, you start the toe. So it is very, it's not good for people with big feet. So I have a UK size 9, which is quite a large foot. And therefore this yarn really doesn't work for me, whereas Kirsty, my best friend, she has like a really tiny like size 4 or something like that. I don't remember, maybe size 5. Nowhere near as small as my friend Hannah, but I don't have a template of Hannah's foot to make hers, make socks for her. Oh no, my wee stitch marker's cut. There we go. So yeah, this yarn is not perfect for someone with bigger feet in my opinion, unless you cut down the length of the leg, which I probably would. I would probably have like maybe here for me personally. So I would get like maybe just over, maybe just over an inch of extra yarn for the foot, but personally I don't think this yarn's great for me, so I kind of just wanted it out of my stash. And because it was in a ball as well, it's really easy for me to grab and just start a new sock if I'm rushing out the house, rather than having to try and find time to cake the yarn up. So I'm going to get Kirsty to try that on in a couple of days time when she's here and see what she thinks. If she doesn't like it, then I can reevaluate, rip back the sock, or if she does like it, cast on the second one. Next one has a lot of things inside it, including a bag of Skittles. Interesting. Oh, that'll have been from the time I was working on this in the hospital. Yep, so this is a West Knits pattern. Sure, Dustland. It's a Dustland sweater. The body is still on hold and I'm working on the sleeves. I'm slowly putting some decreases in. I don't mind baggy sleeves, I really don't. So it is just sleeve island for just now, and then I need to go in and do the second sleeve. I have been putting markers in where, I don't know if you can see that actually, I've been putting markers in where each decrease is. I've either run out of markers or I've not decreased in a while. That will need to be something. Oh no, there's a decrease right there. So I must have run out of markers. Like I say, I was working on this when we were in the hospital, when Scott wasn't too great, when we were in A&E. So I maybe ran out of stitch markers, or was just so stressed at this point I forgot to put them in. Yeah, there's definitely at least 2 more decreases in there somewhere. So body's on hold because I have probably more than enough yarn for this to make this like the perfect length, but I also want to make sure I get the sleeves to like that perfect length as well, so that I'm not scrimping on both areas. I think I would much rather have the sleeves be the correct length and be a wee bit more can't think of the word, but I think I'd rather have like a slightly shorter length in the body than slightly shorter sleeves. So body is on hold. Sleeves will hopefully get done this year so I can wear this wear this come winter, maybe, we'll see. Is there anything else in this bag hiding? On the very, I say very rare occasions I've had to take Scott up to A&E, I've had to take him more up than he's ever had to take me. I always grab a knitting project and I just shove everything in the bag. That's why there were Skittles in here. So it's like my phone gets put in here, the keys get put in here, money for the vending machines, preferably like a can of juice and some snacks, because you never know how long you're going to be in A&E. So that's why there's a random bag of Skittles. Oh, oh. The next one is the Hooded Shawl Cardigan by Suzanne Summers. This has actually had some work done on it recently and will be in the next podcast episode. I got the hood finished, so I'm very happy with that. You can see it there. I also ordered a new knitting needle, a 25cm circular needle, which will help me when it comes to doing the sleeves. So I have picked up for the sleeves, but I haven't actually started picking up underarms and haven't actually done any of the work on the sleeves. So I think it's because I don't really want to put the solid purple in for the sleeves, because this is 100% British yarn and I personally find this too much, excuse me, too much against my skin. I do have a skin condition and this is just a bit too rough for me. So I'm going to be having a long good look at my stash this year, and I'm probably going to be destashing a lot of the yarns that I know are not great against my skin, but I got because they were cheap. That is 100% the truth as to why I got them. So I think I will look to do the border of the cardigan because I have more than enough of the other yarns for it. But yeah, I'm going to get into way more detail. I just wanted to show off the projects I'm taking into next year. I can talk about this on the podcast. Okay, we're getting to the last 5 projects. Technically this counts as 2, but I'm only going to count it as 1. These are the minions that I have been commissioned to make. These haven't been touched in a couple of days, so I really need to get on with that. So this it is technically 2 minions, but I'm just going to count it as 1 project. Next one's a really bizarre one. I was upstairs going through the projects trying to see if I had any scragglers that I hadn't looked at in a while. And this is definitely one. This came with me when we moved into this flat, and that was going on 2 years ago now. And I started a crochet sunflower. I have all the petals. I have the front of it, and I've got the back of it, like the reverse of this bit. I have the stem, and then I just need to do the leaves, and then I think you have to do like a circle of crochet here for like the top of the soil, and then construct it and it's done. But I will need to go try and find like a wee pot, otherwise I can make one like the flower, the eyeball flower I made for the wedding. So I need to have a wee think about that, because I think I'm actually not bothered either way, to be honest. Absolutely not bothered. So this will get finished this year. I have everything, like, grab some of the petals. Like, these are all the petals for the project. So I don't know why I stopped, but I grabbed it out because it will get done this year. Next one, I feel really bad I haven't finished, and I haven't got a printed pattern because there's like 50 pages of pattern. But I was making the African flower dragon. Was I doing the dragon? I think I was, and this was meant to be a crochet along with Deborah of Diary of a Physicist Farm Gal, but this really got put to the wayside last year when we brought the wedding forward, and a lot of my effort went to making stuff for the wedding. So I've got quite a few of these petals basically, and I need to finish this because it's really beautiful. So I failed at that crochet along because that was meant to be a year-long one, and yeah, I haven't touched it probably since January last year. Last project, no, second last project, but I'm not going to show the last one because it is buried away. Oh, I might be able to grab it. Last project is just another blanket. You can see the crochet blanket behind me. I got that finished. I can't believe I got it finished yesterday at like 9 minutes to 11, right before the bells. So this will be probably my next focus blanket. It has quite a lot already done on it, and so I will be moving on to this project going forward. I have a ton of new iron weight yarns for it as well, so we'll see. It's just going to become a really random blanket, and I can't wait to see how this evolves. The last project is another blanket project, and this really hasn't had any work done on it for quite some time. I think I'm going to keep it this wide, like this. It's wide enough for like a single person. I think I'm going to keep it this wide for the foreseeable future, and then just work up. And then if the notion takes me, I can work on wider and work up. But for now, I think this is absolutely fine for the width that it is, and it will just be a wee work when I want to, because again, this has not had work done on it for quite some time. Okay, so considering I counted a bag that shouldn't have been in the mix, I have 17 projects coming into this year with me, and I think I'm going to, well, I know for a fact I'm going to take a note of them so that I don't lose any. And the minions definitely need to get finished first. That hat can get finished for sure, and the sunflower should be able to get done really, really quickly as well. I don't see why that should be lingering for longer than it should be. But yeah, I'm just going to chip away at some of these projects as the year goes in, and then when I feel the want or the notion takes me, I will be casting on some new projects this year. I have nothing set in stone, but I have a couple of new blanket projects that I want to do. So I've got the, I don't remember the exact name of it, but there's like I got the mosaic crochet Halloween blanket kit, and I would love to get that done, but I need to do a couple of mosaic crochet practice projects to begin with. But yeah, 17 projects. I don't think that's too bad, and I've kept this under half an hour, so I still have plenty of time to record a podcast before the sun really goes down. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you are bringing any projects into this new year. If you are, let me know how many you're bringing in, and we can maybe see about setting ourselves a wee challenge to get them done this year, or not, because some people don't do really good with challenges and goals. But yeah, until the next video, thank you so much for joining me. Stay safe and happy crafting. Bye.